Orio's the kind of guy who screams socially awkward anime protagonist. Lifeless eyes, skeptical brain, and all the personality of a wilted houseplant. But everything changes when he ends up moving into a shrine with 3 absolutely unhinged shrine maidens. And oh yeah, he apparently has to pick one to seduce. No pressure, right? Our story kicks off as Orio arrives at the ancient sanctuary. Tourists nearby assume he's praying for good grades or some divine favor. But Orio? Nah, he's more of a Tom Cruise fanboy who believes in science, not spirits. Still, he heads up the steps to the temple, half-heartedly ready to introduce himself, except it's completely deserted. Curious, Orio snoops around a bit, and that's when he hears it. The very distinct sound of girls changing clothes in the next room. He's about to back away and dodge the classic anime trope, but nope. Destiny kicks open the plot device doors, and for a split second, 3 absolute goddesses walk into frame. Orio just saw a whole new galaxy of curves, and he knows it. Before he can reboot his brain, the doors slam shut. He prays for once that he can pretend that never happened. But the girls? Yeah, they're not about to let that slide. They storm in and give him a piece of their mind. Turns out you're not random shrine tourists. They're the priestesses in charge of the place. Awkward. Eventually, Orio clears things up and explains he's supposed to live there now. The tsundere sister immediately throws a fit, refusing to believe that this random nerd is going to stay under their roof. Orio tries to get backup from the shrine's priest, but the old man's away until tomorrow. Classic. So the girls reluctantly introduce themselves. There's the youngest sister, who has suspiciously strong, I want to lose my virginity immediately energy. Then there's the oldest one, who acts like she microdoses psychedelics daily. And finally, Yuna, the middle one, who's got the energy of a wannabe Miss Universe contestant mixed with a retired army general. Orio's kinda glad they're all weird. It means he doesn't have to put on a fake smile or try to be charming. All he really cares about is getting back to his books. Yuna, though, isn't impressed with his lone wolf vibes. She warns him that if he expects dinner later, he better play nice. She then shows him to his new room, which she prepared for him. Spoiler alert, it's just a glorified junk closet. When she opens the door, an avalanche of clutter nearly crushes her. Orio saves the day, only to get buried himself. Yuna rushes in just in time to find Orio buried under a literal mountain of her sister Iai's underwear. Later, Orio's trying to hit the books again when Sari, our aggressively forward little sister, shows up to get to know him better. Orio politely declines, which apparently insults her to the core. She accuses him of having faulty equipment, and then she starts digging through his stuff, looking for proof he's capable of getting excited. Orio tries to stop her, slips on a pair of boxer shorts, and lands on top of her. Of course. That's when Yuna walks in and finds Orio's bolt a little too close to Sari's nut, if you catch my drift. She goes full Godzilla mode. Cut to later that night. Orio's still trying to study, but nature calls, so he heads to the bathroom. On his way, he notices a light still on and goes to check who's up. He finds Yuna collapsed on the floor. Worried she'll catch a cold, he grabs a blanket and gently covers her. But Yuna wakes up mid-tuck-in and immediately assumes the worst. She flips out. The other sisters storm in and find the mid-human pretzel. They slam the door shut in horror, while Orio insists he's more into his hand than actual women. What? Yuna starts throwing salt at him like he's some kind of demon. Things eventually cool off and everyone gathers in the main room. Orio, still recovering, asks Yuna why she was up so late. He notices some papers on the table. Turns out they're talismans she's been crafting. She says she wanted to make them alone, without Orio's tainted hands messing them up. Confused, Orio asks why she's putting in all that work for something that doesn't even make money. The sisters explain that the red threads they use to make the charms come from their mom, who's no longer around. The strings help them stay connected to her and to the people they're trying to help. They begin their ritual, each wrapping a thread around their hands. Orio watches, slightly less skeptical now, but still not buying it entirely. When they ask what he was doing, he says he was studying, trying to get into a top medical school. The girls are shocked. A guy who isn't wasting his youth binging anime and you-know-what? Revolutionary. They tell him that some gods are known to grant success in exams and that they're in the season of miracles. Apparently, there's a magical meteor shower coming soon, and legend says if you bathe in stardust, your wish comes true. Yuna tells him she's sure the gods will hear his prayer. Orio calls BS immediately, saying stardust would probably kill you on impact, not make you lucky. Yuna turns pale at his blasphemy. Things escalate fast, and she whips out a spellbook to curse his skeptical soul. But Ei stops her just in time. The next day, the shrine is buzzing with visitors. Orio finds a quiet spot under a tree to reflect and mutter about how none of this works anyway. Just then, he overhears Yuna absolutely butchering the English language while trying to chat with a foreign child. That poor girl's probably gonna have nightmares now. Orio steps in like a total boss and effortlessly tells the little girl, in perfect English, to accept the charm. She lights up, grabs the talisman with a smile, and waves goodbye, leaving Yuna blinking in confusion. Impressed and slightly embarrassed, Orio offers to teach her proper English so she doesn't keep traumatizing foreign tourists. But Yuna, proud as ever, refuses the help. Still, she thanks him for saving the moment and promises she'll work harder on her own. Just then, bam! A bird swoops down like it owns the place and snatches her red ribbon. As it vanishes into the sky, Yuna is hit with a wave of nostalgia, remembering how their mother gave them those ribbons and how they instantly became precious treasures. And now, some oversized pigeon just yeeted it into the clouds. Later, Yuna looks absolutely crushed. She still hasn't found the ribbon, and her sisters try to comfort her, saying the gods will surely help. But Orio, always the wet blanket, butts in again. He calls them out for relying too much on divine intervention, saying no amount of praying will magically fix their problems. They have to do things themselves. Yuna, already at her limit, fires back. She says the gods never abandon those who truly believe. Then she storms off in a huff, telling Orio that he clearly doesn't belong there. Ouch. Back in his room, Orio tells himself it's probably best to just keep his distance from Yuna. But when the girls check in on him later, he's missing. Panic mode engaged. The sisters immediately freak out, wondering how they can possibly get those two to stop clashing all the time. Unfortunately, Sari is too busy digging through Orio's stuff looking for, well, anything juicy to actually help. Meanwhile, Ei spots an old photo of Orio and his mom. That's when Sari recalls something their grandpa once mentioned. Apparently, Orio lost his mother when he was young and ended up in an orphanage. They figure he probably prayed back then, hoping for help, and got ghosted by the gods. That's likely why he stopped believing in them. Sari tells Yuna that maybe, just maybe, she and Orio have more in common than she thinks. Yuna, of course, is secretly eavesdropping the entire time. Meanwhile, Orio's on a one-man quest. He's climbing trees, checking bird nests, anything to find that missing ribbon. No luck. Frustrated, but not ready to give up, he decides to try again in the morning. But then he remembers the girl's little prayer ritual with the red strings, and something shifts. Back at the shrine, Yuna's also out looking for him, and she finds him in the middle of praying. For what? For her to find her ribbon. She's stunned. She joins him, genuinely touched, and compliments his effort. Orio, feeling sheepish, apologizes for being a jerk earlier. Yuna does the same, and when she sees how dirty his hands got searching for her treasure, she softens even more. She tells him that if he's got at least a tiny bit of faith in the gods, maybe he can stay at the shrine. Right then, the other girls show up, relieved to find them together. Of course, Sari immediately assumes they were doing something inappropriate, but they all walk back to the house as a group. They agree, if a miracle does happen, Maybe they'll find that ribbon. Just as they say that, boom, the sky lights up. A magical meteor shower sparkles above them. Everyone watches in awe, eyes wide. But Oreo, being Oreo, squints and realizes it's just a regular meteor shower, mixed with some cherry blossom petals. Meh, so much for divine signs. The girls, however, are still mesmerized. They ask how Oreo can witness something so beautiful and still not believe in miracles. He's about to fire back, but then something falls from the sky. The red ribbon. It gently floats down and lands right on top of Yuna's head. She gasps. Everyone stares. Even Oreo is caught off guard. The next day, the Grand Priest Shidori finally returns. The girls excitedly tell him everything went surprisingly well while he was away. Shidori, ever the straight shooter, casually welcomes Oreo and drops a bomb. Once Oreo marries one of his granddaughters, he'll be next in line to inherit the shrine. Cue the record scratch. Oreo is like, whoa, hold up. I signed up for free room and food, not an arranged marriage. He tells the priest his only plan is to mooch and maybe study, not take vows. Also, he wants to be a doctor, not a holy man. Shidori just laughs it off and tells him being a priest is a flexible gig. 2 jobs? Totally doable. The girls aren't thrilled either, especially Yuna. She leads an emergency anti-Oreo marriage resistance meeting. She suspects Shidori's memory isn't what it used to be. The other girls agree. It's insane to marry someone you barely know. Plus, Oreo's not even a believer. So what do? They plot his downfall, obviously. Yuna kicks off Operation Kick Oreo Out. Step 1, chores. If he's gonna live there, he's gotta earn it. His first assignment, cook dinner. She opens the fridge, expecting failure. It's emptier than IE's brain on a bad day. But then, plot twist. Oreo channels his inner Gordon Ramsay and whips up a legit gourmet meal. Yuna is shook. The girls waste no time diving into Oreo's meal like it's their last supper. Even though the food is top tier, Yuna keeps her cool and says, "You're not off the hook yet, chef boy." Next up, laundry duty. Under the blazing sun, Yuna hopes he'll break a sweat and give up, while Ai starts questioning the wisdom of giving him unrestricted access to their intimate apparel. To their horror, Oreo doesn't even flinch when he sees their underwear. Zero reaction, not even a blush. The girls are more flustered watching him fold panties than he is actually doing it. When he finishes, the laundry looks so perfectly folded, it's like it came straight from a store shelf. But Yuna's not done with him yet. She hits him with her final boss-level chore, cleaning Ai's room. Now, Ai's room is less of a bedroom and more of a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Good luck surviving the fumes alone. Yuna wishes him a heartfelt Godspeed, while Oreo braces for impact. He quickly finds the source of the smell, some old oil paintings from Ai's art student phase that are practically decomposing. After what feels like a near-death experience, he emerges victorious. The room is spotless. Even Ai admits maybe they should let him stay. Anyone who survives that chaos has earned a spot. Sari even adds that having a live-in maid might not be such a bad idea. Oreo, wiping sweat from his brow, thanks them for the brief hospitality. But if staying means doing daily chores, he says, there's no way he can focus on studying for med school. So, he packs his things and heads out, chasing his dream. No strings attached. The girls are left blinking, not expecting him to actually leave. Yuna shrugs it off, insisting that their plan totally worked. But both Ai and Sari look kind of sad. Cut to Oreo on the train, already back to his study grind. Meanwhile, the girls are secretly trailing him. Sari teases Yuna for being all soft and sentimental, which Yuna obviously denies because she doesn't even have a heart, remember? They start wondering what's driving Oreo to work so hard toward becoming a doctor. The answer seems obvious: his mom. They follow him all the way to the end of the train line, an isolated area where the path leads to a rundown house surrounded by ominous crows and spooky vibes. Yuna panics, thinking she's accidentally driven him to live in a haunted slum. Then, bam! Oreo sneaks up behind her and nearly gives her a heart attack. Inside the creepy house, they're greeted by Mahiru, the resident doctor and owner of the orphanage called Miracle Garden. She's snarky, playful, and immediately thanks the girls for taking in a stray mutt like Oreo. She jokes that they're way too pretty to be his future wives. She admits Oreo's got some good traits and starts teasing that he wants to be a doctor because of her, until Oreo quickly cuts her off before she can expose whatever embarrassing story she's about to tell. He also makes it clear he's not going back to the shrine or marrying anyone. Mahiru smirks and covers his mouth, reminding him that she worked hard to get him a proper adoptive home, and he better not waste it. Before he can reply, a bunch of kids run up, showing off their origami cranes with big grins. One more surprise! Shirai shows up! Oreo is like, "What are you doing here?" But she says she's just visiting. The girls ask who she is, and Oreo explains she's an old childhood friend, someone who also used to live at the orphanage. Sari, never missing a chance to tease, bets Oreo is the reason Shirai dresses like a boy. Yuna tells her to chill. One of the kids then shows the girls his paper crane and says it's for his mom. Turns out, some of the parents here are sick and can't take care of their kids, so the children are making paper cranes with red strings to send as good luck charms. The girls are moved. Oreo? Not so much. He bluntly calls it a waste of time. Yuna gives him a death glare and tells the kids to ignore the buzzkill while they all pitch in with the cranes. Eventually, the girls reveal their own paper crane disasters. Iai's is a structural collapse, Yuna's is progressing at glacial speed, and Sari's looks like it was folded during an earthquake. The kids sigh and beg Oreo for help. He puts up a weak protest, then gives in. He spends the next while folding cranes with them like a pro. The girls watch in awe as his fingers fly. Oreo, meanwhile, silently laments the hours he's losing that could have gone into med school prep. But then, he hears one of the kids quietly asking if a crane will really help his mom get better. That question hits him right in the gut. Oreo picks up the boy's crane and gently tells him that when doctors see those charms, they'll definitely do their absolute best. The boy beams with hope. Mahiru watches from the doorway, smiling. She tells the girls that Oreo's so good at folding paper cranes because he made thousands of them once for his mom. Turns out Oreo gets kids, like really gets them. As the girls hang back and watch, it suddenly clicks. He doesn't just want to be a doctor for prestige or money. He wants it for them, for kids like the ones in that orphanage. Shirai chimes in, saying Oreo's always been there for the kids when they're anxious or down. Mahiru overhears and calls over to the girls, telling them to take good care of Oreo. After all, he's worth the trouble. Later that day, the girls are outside playing tag with the kids, while Mahiru casually teases Oreo about scoring 3 shrine maidens. He groans. Sure, they're cute, but they also made him do every chore under the sun, which left 0 time for studying. Mahiru laughs and says Oreo's always been good with his hands, but his mouth tends to lag behind. Still, she assures him that those 3 girls didn't come all this way just for laughs. They care, even if they're terrible at showing it. Oreo's about to argue, but then she reminds him of when he was little, always insisting on helping her with the kids, the meals, everything, even when she said she didn't need it. He smiles, and with that, he makes a silent vow not to complain anymore, even if it means pulling a Mahiru and doing everything himself. She pats his shoulder in approval and wishes him luck. He's gonna need it. That evening, the girls tease him again, suggesting he has a thing for Mahiru. He tells them to shut it, adding that he owes her everything. Then he apologizes for leaving so abruptly before and says he's willing to help with any chores they throw at him. But Yuna steps in, saying if he died all, they'll turn into couch potatoes. So now it's a team effort. They're all family after all. Oreo happily agrees, but it turns out the girls should not be allowed near domestic tasks. Ai's room is back to disaster mode in under 24 hours. Sari still doesn't grasp how to use a laundry line. And Yuna's cooking is slower than paint drying on a humid day. Oreo quickly realizes this trio is hopeless. That's when Grandpa Shidori walks in. pleased as punch to see Oreo finally acting like a proper successor. Oreo, of course, still plans to dodge the whole marriage part of that deal. He has other plans, though. He suggests Oreo go through formal marriage interviews with each of his granddaughters to help them build a connection. Oreo freezes like a deer in headlights. A few days later, Shidori drags him into his first interview, and to Oreo's shock, Sari is way too into it. She's even playing the part perfectly. Shidori officially kicks things off, then leaves them to it, alone. Sari leans in close and says they should enjoy the fun while it lasts. Then, because of course she does, she starts undressing, and Oreo panics, shielding his eyes. Not that it helps. He can still hear every word coming from a living, breathing plank of wood trying to seduce him. Soon after, they head out for a run. Sari tells him running is like breathing for her. It clears her head. He heads to the bathroom to clean up, only to find the door wide open and Sari's completely topless. She shrugs it off, saying fresh air is best. Oreo tells her she's clearly insane. The next morning, Oreo oversleeps and blames Sari for exhausting him. She doesn't even deny it. In fact, she shows up in his bed, eager to continue their interview. But first, she wants new running shoes, and of course, Oreo has to come with. He accuses her of using him as an errand boy. But Sari insists she has to report their interview progress to her grandpa. At the storage shed, they find it's been hit by the same mess-making tornado that destroyed Ei's room. While Oreo tries to make sense of the chaos, Sari is busy daydreaming about being locked in a room with a guy. Cue fate. Plot gods slam the door shut behind them, locking them in. Delivers the bad news. The door's old and they're stuck. While Oreo tries to come up with a plan, he notices Sari acting weird. Not flirty weird. Genuinely anxious. He recalls something she muttered back in the bath and realizes she's claustrophobic. Sari tries to deny it, but Oreo sees her shaking. He gently places his hand on her head to calm her down. Then he turns around and offers her his back, telling her to hang on while he works on opening the window. It takes a while, but eventually Oreo breaks a hole big enough to crawl through. Sari notices his scraped up hands and gets all soft until she sees how high they are. Panic sets in. Oreo climbs down and unlocks the door from the outside. As soon as she's out, Sari has the nerve to tease him for being scared. As they're walking back, she thanks him. Oreo glances over and says, "You know, sometimes you act kind of like a kid." Sari turns beet red, like full-on tomato mode, and denies it. Before she can recover, Yuna and Ai show up, asking where the heck she's been all morning. Sari casually brags to the others that she had an unforgettable night with Oreo, immediately triggering Yuna's inner volcano. The next day, Oreo mentally preps for World War Yuna. But when she shows up acting all sweet and domestic, he starts suspecting the end times might be near. They go for a walk, and Yuna's being oddly soft-spoken, kind, and borderline adorable. Oreo's brain short-circuits. Who is this woman and what has she done with Yuna? But then she freaks out over a cat crossing their path. And yep, there she is. Later, Oreo can't take it anymore and straight up asks Yuna why she's acting like some lovey-dovey anime waifu. Before he can process it, Yuna pushes him up against a wall and tries to initiate something. Oreo quickly blocks, saying he's not ready to create emotionally damaged offspring. Snapping out of it, Yuna goes full boss mode again and declares she was only doing it for the good of the shrine. She storms off to go pick flowers, leaving the other girls cringing at how painful that was to witness. Oreo's still confused, so he asks the girls why Yuna's trying so hard if she supposedly hates him. That's when they drop the truth bomb. Yuna's just trying to protect them from the horror of marrying Oreo. She's always been like that, sacrificing herself to save her sisters from a hideous fate. Later, Oreo tells Yuna to get dressed, her turn for the marriage interview. He takes her to a cat cafe, and even though she tries to act like she's not into it, the second a kitten meows, she's making squeaky baby sounds. Out of nowhere, she insists they leave. Oreo reminds her they just got there. Yuna says she can't afford to slack off. But Oreo tells her everyone's worried she's pushing herself too hard. She brushes it off, saying it's her duty. Oreo gets it. He knows what it's like to feel responsible, but he reminds her that her sisters matter too, and sometimes taking a break is part of the mission. He offers to ditch his studies and spend the whole day just playing with cats. That softens her. She slowly relaxes and starts genuinely enjoying herself, rolling around with a kitten like a true cat lady. She says she should bring her sisters next time, and Oreo admits the place is kind of addicting. Then she tosses him a plush toy and thanks him for helping her escape the constant stress. But when she starts acting sweet again, Oreo accuses her of having a brain parasite. That earns him a full-blown exorcism-level salt attack. The next day, it's time for Oreo's final interview with EI, but she's taking forever to get ready. So he heads up to check on her, only to accidentally walk in on her changing. Cue nosebleed. He quickly backs out and asks what's taking so long. EI says she'll be ready in just a second. A week passes, and when Oreo returns to try again, she's gone. When he asks the others where she went, no one has a clue. Yuna starts to panic, and Oreo tries to piece it together. Eventually, he finds EI drawing quietly at a nearby Inari shrine. He asks what she's doing there, and EI says, nothing much. When he wonders how he even found her, he jokes that the creepy fox statue guided him. He demands to know why she bailed on their interview. EI looks at him and asks straight up, "Do you actually like me?" He tells her to cut it out. She smirks and says it's a secret, but he'll probably figure it out soon enough. Then she suggests they hold the interview there at the shrine. They act like tourists for a bit, taking selfies and messing around. When it's over, Oreo gives her a protective charm as a way of apologizing. As they walk away, he starts thinking maybe Ai's not just an airhead after all. But then Ai ruins the moment by asking who he's planning to marry. She lists all the good things about Yuna and Seri, but says she has something way softer and bouncier to offer. Oreo is so embarrassed, he loses balance and falls backward down the stairs. As he tumbles, time slows. He starts seeing his life flash before his eyes. Only it's not his life. It's visions of the future. Wedding, plural, with all three sisters. He jolts awake. Just a dream, or was it? Later, Oreo heads to Ai's room to ask what really happened during their interview. Of course, she plays dumb. No help there. Yuna barges in, yelling at him for bothering EI, and sends him on a snack run to get tea cakes for some VIP guest. While out, Oreo overhears some old ladies talking about the upcoming Amagami Festival, but they mention they haven't visited the shrine in years. When he gets home, the mysterious guest has arrived. It's a sharply dressed older guy with white hair. Shidori introduces him as Moemon, basically the sugar daddy of the shrine. Moemon drops a bomb. The shrine isn't pulling crowds anymore. Because of that, they're cutting off financial support. He offers to let them keep the house, but the shrine, that's done. Back when their mother was alive, she brought in over 1,000 visitors for the festival. Now, they can't even hit 30% of that. Out of nowhere, Momon's smug face wrinkles up like Sukuna's cursed finger as he mocks their late mother for working herself to death. Yuna nearly explodes, but her sisters manage to hold her back before she roundhouse kicks the old man into another dimension. Oreo quickly steps in, trying to keep things civil, and offers a deal. He promises they'll bring in 5,000 people to the upcoming festival. Momon laughs in his face, calling his plan childish. But Seri comes to his defense, saying they're not kids anymore. She politely asks the bitter fossil for a little more time. Surprisingly, Momon agrees, but with a nasty twist. He won't give them a single coin to fund the event. Worse, if they fail to bring in 5,000 attendees, they'll have to give up the house too. The girls are floored. Oreo's stunned when they actually accept the terms, and Shidori backs the deal like it's a genius move. Before leaving, Momon flashes his nasty pink eye and warns them not to regret this. Back inside, Yuna scolds Oreo for cutting deals with the devil's middle child. The group scrambles to figure out how to pull this off when they suddenly realize Orio's missing. They find him digging through old festival records, trying to gather data like a man possessed. They all agree, if anyone can pull this off, it's probably him. The next morning, Orio looks like he hasn't slept in days and announces that the number of food stalls has dropped drastically. The girls explain that after their mother passed, they stopped reaching out to the vendors, and Chidori was too busy raising them to keep up the relationships. But now, they're old enough to handle it. Orio proposes Plan B, social media. If they can't pull people in the traditional way, they'll have to go viral. The girls proudly claim they're social media pros. Spoiler, they are not. Their first festival poster looks like it was made by a drunk raccoon with Photoshop. So Orio suggests they become the faces of the campaign. Sari mocks him for thinking they're cute enough for that. But deep down, she's not opposed. Yuna, however, is horrified at the idea of being a shrine maiden model. It's undignified. Sari volunteers instead, confident in her cuteness. Unfortunately, she's only cute enough to get one like, and it was probably from their mom's ghost. They try again with a forced, awkward pic of Yuna. This time, they get 2 likes. Progress? Desperate, Sari brings out the big guns, aka Ai's absurd bust to boost engagement. Still no traction. And now, she needs to bleach her eyes. Orio points out that none of their posts actually mention the shrine or the festival. Sari responds by planning a seductive photo shoot in a maid outfit. Determined to win over the internet, Yuna catches her mid-thirst trap and declares her a disgrace to the shrine. Sari fires back, accusing Yuna of being the real disgrace for believing the only thing that matters is divine approval. Before they throw down, Ei steps in like a disappointed mom and tells them to cut it out. That night at dinner, no one says a word. The silent tension is so thick you could cut it with a chopstick. Later, Orio finds Yuna practicing selfie poses in Seekit. He asks if she's made up with Sari yet. Then he shows her just how much Sari's been trying. He asks, "Do you still think she's a failure?" Yuna silently sends a selfie to Sari, asking for advice. Sari replies instantly, happy to help. Yuna smiles and gives her a surprise back hug, apologizing for being a textbook tsundere. Just like that, the sisters make up. Orio jumps in to join the moment, and the girls start goofing off again. While they're playing around, Orio snaps a candid photo that goes viral. Inspired, the girls start cranking out shrine-themed TikToks, and they're a hit. Riding the wave, Orio pushes them into Phase 2, limited edition merch, custom charms. Ei is put in charge of designing them. 2 days later, Orio is losing his mind trying to get Ei to focus. She's been procrastinating the entire time. She promises to finish by morning, and Orio wants to believe her. Later, he realizes they might be in trouble. Ei's room is empty, and so is her promise. Meanwhile, she's down by the river watching a koi fish drama unfold. As the fish start getting flirty, inspiration hits her like divine lightning. The next morning, Orio presents his own last resort charm designs, and the girls kindly suggest he never stop studying medicine. Right then, Ai strolls in with her new design. Everyone's jaw drops. It's adorable, clever, and totally on brand. She explains it's a love charm designed to attract hopelessly single festival goers. Orio scolds her for being too relaxed about deadlines and says he'll be keeping an eye on her next time. The girls call him out for being weirdly into bossing around older women, but Ai smiles and thanks him for going out of his way to support her. Now, with their online fame growing and the new charm designs ready to roll, the girls are more fired up than ever for the festival. Before they can start celebrating, Orio tells the girls there's still one last important thing they need to do. Later, they head into the city's shopping district. The girls are clearly nervous, fidgeting as they walk through familiar streets. Eventually, they arrive at the marketplace and meet up with the old festival stall owners. Orio steps forward and politely asks for their help in making the Amagami Festival a success again. He explains the financial troubles the shrine has been going through and how he and the girls are doing everything they can to bring it back. To their surprise, the stall owners are more than happy to help. The girls worry they might be bothering them, but the vendors explain they were already talking about the festival and hoping it would return someday. They admit that ever since the previous shrine priestess passed away, they felt uneasy about returning. But they never knew the shrine was struggling this much. Their families had been blessed by the Amagami for generations, so they're ready to lend a hand. Orio and the girls thank them deeply, and the vendors suggest they jump straight into a planning meeting to get things going. Later, while the girls watch Orio working alongside the vendors, they're reminded of their mom. They realize how much they've learned thanks to Orio. And for the first time, they truly believe they can make this festival a success. And that's where we'll leave it for today. If you enjoyed the episode and want to see how this wild shrine saga unfolds, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more anime recaps just like this one. Seriously, it helps the channel a ton and keeps me motivated to bring you even more stories. If you made it all the way to the end, drop the word foxfire in the comments. I'll be giving a heart to everyone who uses it. See you in the next video.